So if you could be here around 9, that would be great. Okay?
Well, listen here. Okay.
Hello, Mr. O.
Hello, Miss H.
How are you doing?
I'm not doing too bad.
Yeah?
Yeah.
It's the week of Thanksgiving.
It is the week of Thanksgiving. Yeah, it is a good week. I only got 2 days of school. I'm halfway through my week already. We're doing good.
Yeah, I have 1 day of school and I just finished it.
Oh.
Yeah, things are even better in my world.
Yeah.
All right, so I thought we would start off this podcast with kind of a rumor roundup. It's the end of November, and there's been a lot in the 90 Day Fiancé universe outside of our cast. So I thought we would limit it to 2 minutes. Just because I know that not everybody has followed the previous seasons. I know you probably don't know maybe half of the couples I'm going to be talking about. And for those of you who also don't know, you can at least start catching up with our 90-day classic, which we will continue to release on Thursdays. And so this week we are covering the last 2 episodes of Season 1. So Season 1, episodes 5 and 6. Okay, so let's just jump right into it.
2-minute rumor roundup.
Okay, rumor has it that Danielle has a local boyfriend and she's filming for TLC but won't say for what. Lauren and Alex are expecting. Ashley tried to make it look like she was pregnant using Lauren's ultrasound. Lauren gets pissed and calls her out. Someone reports Ashley's Instagram and her account has been banned. In other news, Ashley's divorce to Jay has been finalized. George has lost a lot of weight in prison, and Anfisa is looking to transfer to UC Irvine in 2021. Larissa has made amends with her ex, Eric. Eric is still the most expensive cameo at $100, and he still sucks. Steven and Olga are on the rocks and have left comments that their relationship is complicated. Ricky is trying to stay relevant and tease he is trying to meet up with the Russian love interest. Ben supposedly cheated on his ex-wife. The ex-wife interviewed with the broadcast and revealed that Ben sucks, but she said it in a nice way. Devin tried out lip fillers and it went horribly wrong. She says her lip was dying and Larissa recommended a doctor that fixed it. Laura is still slumming in Ecuador with Evelyn, while Aladdin is trying to get a travel company off the ground. Karini has supposedly filed for divorce from Paul and gone back to Brazil with Pierre. Tom has lost weight and is doing meet and greets for his MLM. They are rumored to have filmed another season where Tom breaks up with Darcy. Tom and Jesse are now on good terms. Jesse recently got robbed in Barcelona, but not by Caesar's Maria, who he was meeting up with, supposedly filming something. In other news, SNL did a parody of Caesar and Maria's storyline. It may not have made the live show, so check it out on YouTube. Stacy, Darcy's twin, has supposedly broken up with Florian, according to a potential side chick who claimed to have slept with Florian. Stacy's response is to imply she's pregnant with Florian's child. Pau is still thirsty and an anti-vaxxer. People hate her on Pillow Talk. Well, that wraps up our rumor roundup. What'd you think of that?
That was a lot of stuff. It was very much a lightning round of what's going on.
Yeah, it's been a few weeks since we've really addressed any of the cast outside of our current cast, so I thought
it is, and some of it's really funny because I don't know who those people are, but like it involves those sound like situations, like legit.
Yeah,
there's prisons and all kinds of pregnancy scares.
Even when I was compiling it, especially with the Lauren Ashley situation, it was just like, oh my gosh, these people, they sound like such a soap opera.
It does. It doesn't even sound real.
It doesn't sound real. No, not at all.
Someone's evil twin showed up and what? Stop.
And then she decides to fake she's pregnant.
Yeah, supposedly they died in a car accident 2 years ago, but they might actually still be alive.
All right, so moving on to this current season, who do you want to start with?
Let's start with the shortest one and work our way up. Let's do Michael and Juliana were pretty short.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't have a whole lot with them either.
I think they just had one scene.
Right. So what did you think of Sarah?
I don't know. She was trying really hard to not come across like bitchy, but I don't know. I feel like they kind of played her wrong with the edits, especially with the faces they kept catching and putting on air.
Aww.
They caught her worst faces.
I thought she is really trying to be the bigger, better person. So I agree with you there. I thought she was really warm with Juliana when she first met her. She gave her a big hug. I mean, even in her little side interview, she says that, she isn't competing, which I think it's really a good mindset to be in, because I think that's what women or people in general get caught up in is, like, I want to have been the better person. No one could have been as good as me.
Right.
You're always going to try measure up, and whether you're successful or not, like, that comparison is always going to be there. So I appreciate that she, from the get-go, was kind of like, I'm not competing. And so I just thought it was kind of funny because it's like, oh, well, Michael is no prize. At least that's not how she sees it.
Right. It's like, it's I don't know, not my trash, but it's definitely like, I'm not competing with you. I already said I didn't want that. Like, I'm done with it.
Right.
But no, I do think sometimes you can get into, and that's what I don't know. I don't think it's this, but I would be alert to the possibility that, yeah, you compete by trying to be the good guy. Like I be whoever's the most blameless in the relationship.
Interesting take.
I thought it was interesting. Well, first of all, we always go to fashion. She put her jean jacket with a popped collar. Like the preppiest look she could have gone with, just coming in.
Yeah.
But no, I just thought she immediately was like, "What do you think your role as a parent's going to be?" And then said, "I think your role should be not to parent at all," which is
Right. So, okay, I don't think this is the conversation you should be having in front of the kids.
Oh, absolutely not.
So, yeah. So kind of just starting off with that, even before Sarah comes in to join them for dinner, Max is talking about how his mom is assertive and she wants people to know how she feels, but she's going to be nice about it. And Cece says that she doesn't think they're threatened by each other. These do not sound like things kids would be saying by themselves. But it really kind of seems that they're privy to a lot of adult conversations. Yeah. So maybe that's where they pick up on these like very adult-like things to say when you're just like, kids would not say that.
That's true. I didn't think about that with Max because he just seems so mature all the time anyway. And he almost talks like a little adult anyway. But yeah, that kind of idea of it like, oh no, she'll be nice about it, but she's going to, that is a very subtle adult kind of tick to pick up on. And right. I'm sure he's heard other people mention that before.
Yeah.
Did not make it up on his own.
Right. But going back to the whole thing where Sarah says that she doesn't want Juliana to parent, I disagree with that whole idea because, there's going to be situations where Juliana is the only adult supervision.
Right.
And so to basically say in front of the kids that this is not your parent, you're really undermining her authority when you're in that specific situation.
Yeah, I totally agree that in a step-parent situation, like you definitely have to defer to the biological parent, both in your relationship and out of your relationship. But like, what is she not supposed to tell Cece to stay out of her makeup? Like, what is it? How, there has to be some kind of, she is still an authority, if not a parent. And I don't know what her definition of parenting somebody is because I've met plenty of people whose definition of parent is you told my kid what to do. You're not their parent. And it's like, I told your kid to get out of the street. Like, chill out.
Because a car was coming. Yeah. I was trying to save her child.
Right.
Jeez.
Sorry.
I feel like when Juliana says she doesn't really feel like she's part of the family, when things, kind of at the end of all of that dinner, I feel like that is a completely valid feeling because she is this in-between role. She's not quite one of the kids, but she's expected to also not be an adult.
Right.
So it's like, what is your place in this family if you're neither a child or an adult? So I can see how she doesn't feel like, maybe not that she doesn't belong in the family, but maybe feels out of place.
Yeah, and that's going to be a hard relationship with Sarah if it's legitimately a person that does not see you as an adult. And you're supposed to be, married to her ex. and help being the stepmom to her kids, like, and she doesn't even see you, like that, like not even as a parent, but barely as an adult.
Right. So Juliana says at some point when they're eating their fried mac and cheese dipped in ranch or whatever it was that they're eating, I couldn't really tell.
There were wings involved.
I want to say there was burgers and nuggets involved too.
Maybe, I don't know. There were like 4 different hot sauces on the table, which
right.
I get that. I'm on board with lots of hot sauce in a meal. So,
but Juliana says that she feels like she's getting fat, or she feels so fat.
I know.
So I was thinking, I had thoughts about this. Mm-hmm. On the one hand, and we'll talk about it in our classic podcast when Aya thinks that she's getting fat. Yeah. Right. I kind of understand because I was always a really skinny kid. And there were definitely moments where it's like you say, oh, I feel so fat. And it's like comparatively, I understand I am not clinically fat. But I understand where Juliana's coming from because you feel different, right? So you feel just like in your own skin fatter than you usually are.
Right.
But at the same time, she has to be so careful not to say that stuff in front of Cece. Cece already thinks she's the most beautiful person in the world. And to kind of have her see, her physical role model, I suppose, with the makeup and the hair and all of that, someone who is possibly going to be dieting in front of her because, of her job as a model. I just think it's just so dangerous.
Oh, it is. It definitely is. I did not think about that.
Yeah. So I just think she just needs to be really careful about how she's like portraying, body image and comfortable in her own skin around Cece. Because, Cece's definitely at an impressionable age.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, especially when it comes to that. And I think it was really funny kind of backtracking when Sarah's describing Juliana. It kind of sounded like Sarah was into her.
I wrote that down. I was like, does Sarah want to sleep with Juliana? Because it kind of definitely sounds like she does.
She's like threesome, but minus Michael.
So maybe that's what just Michael can sit in the corner. He can watch, I guess. But
maybe, I guess.
He'll be on his phone, right? Like,
I think Michael might be into that.
Just being on his phone and not watching?
No. I think like
he would definitely be a watcher.
Being around. Yeah. So because she was talking about how great she was, how sexy she was, and how beautiful. It's like everybody loves Juliana.
Energetic. Yeah, it definitely sounded like Sarah was into her. Which maybe that's why they were making the angry faces when Michael was around. In the interviews, Michael's like, I think this is going great. And they're both on either side of him, just like,
Really? Why are you in between us?
Can we switch seats?
Yeah. And okay, so I thought it was really weird that Michael says Brazilian women inherently are jealous. Because if we think about the 2 women that are from Guyana, you've got Juliana and Carolyn, who are seriously the nicest, least aggressive people on this show.
Yeah.
And you're going to kind of lump them into Brazilian women are aggressive and jealous.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was like, no, I don't think so.
But it's also, I don't know, for both of them, it's a little easier to not be jealous when you're kind of clearly out of his league. And you're like, what do I have to be jealous about? Like, he's not going to get anybody as good looking as I am. Come on.
Right. Okay, well, I think that was all I had on them.
Yeah, that's all I had for them. Who do you want to go to next?
How about Blake and Jasmine? Let's just get them out of the way.
Oh, yeah, they were kind of boring.
Yeah, I thought so too. And I think part of it was that she just didn't give a whole lot of energy.
Yes, that is true. She was just kind of there. And her sister, too, is just like there.
Yeah. So we have our new couple, Blake and Jasmine. Blake is from Los Angeles, and I didn't catch his age, but he mentioned he got divorced at 23, so I'm assuming he's somewhere in there.
Yeah, I want to say he was like 28 or something, somewhere in that range.
Oh, that's weird. Well, it made it kind of seem like his divorce was recent, so that's why I assumed he was in the 23-ish range.
Maybe. I don't know. He said like stuff. He did mention like he had like, oh, I tried for a few years, and my friend like finally got me to try this app. which we'll get to.
Okay.
I have theories about this app.
Oh, right. So he meets Jasmine, 27, who's from Helsinki, Finland. What was your first impression of this couple?
Just, I don't know, non-expressive. I didn't get much of a vibe out of either of them. Just kind of there.
Right. Yeah, I said clueless and disinterested. I think he just comes off as really clueless.
Yes.
And she just seems really disinterested.
Extremely so.
So Blake got married kind of young. He said he was married at 19 and divorced by 23.
Mm-hmm.
So he, his friend convinced him to go on a dating app, which I'm assuming is location based because he meets Jasmine. Thought at first she must be some kind of bot or catfish, so he pretty early on tries to video chat.
But still, I don't know. If I come across somebody I think is a bot or a catfish, I just delete that one and move on. I don't say, let me see.
Well, even his friend later kind of says that he's someone who gets taken advantage of.
Right.
So I think he might be like hopelessly optimistic to the point where that's the kind of guy who's a Caesar. He's getting scammed. Mm-hmm. The difference is that this person's actually motivated to meet him. So he video chats with her where he finds out that she is not in LA and she's in Finland. So you said you had a thought or theory on that?
Okay, so it seems to me there was one of two things. Oh, because the other thing we find out shortly, and that's where I really got the thought, is that her sister lives like, a couple miles away from Blake.
Yeah. And production is definitely trying to play up like your suspicion in the whole thing. Like the weird looks they give each other, even production saying, do you think that's weird?
Right, because so it was either that she was visiting her sister,
right,
which is a possibility, or she was using her sister's house to spoof her location,
right.
And that's why she was in LA, and then he said, no, come to find out she's actually in Helsinki, which is weird, because at first I thought it was going to be like one of those Anastasia date apps where it was like an international thing, but he thought when they had first started talking, he thought she was in LA, and she was not in LA. So I don't know if they matched when she was there and she went home, or the juicier one is that she was, trying to hook up with LA guys so that she could get, her visa. Because it's very suspicious because her and her sister both applied for the visa lottery, but only her sister won.
Right. So my thought was definitely on the same lines as you, except for I don't know if it really requires her to be as technically savvy as to spoof her.
Oh, no, she could just have her sister log in on sister's phone.
Well, no, not even that. But I mean, Tinder, if you pay for a subscription, you can actually specify your location. And so I don't know how much Tinder is if you actually purchase it, but I can't imagine it being like maybe $20 a month at most.
I actually think it's different depending on where you are. Mm-hmm. Like how valuable Tinder is for you.
Sure. So, but I think the being able to change locations, because I've come across profiles where people will be visiting the area and they know in advance, and so they're trying to match up with someone so that way they can meet up as soon as they get here.
There. Yeah.
Right. So it's possible that she just paid for a subscription and changed her location to be around her sister because she probably did want to meet someone nearby her sister.
I hear it. Okay, so the thing that was bothering me about Blake was that between the interviews and the scenes, his hair color was changing. In the scenes, his hair was all blonde, right? And in the interviews, he had like frosted tips, like his sides were all black, and just the top was blonde. And so like really took me out because they always want to make it look like the interviews happened like that day or right away,
right?
And
because they're talking about it in present tense.
Yes, and it was just like, wait, no, that's not the same day. Stop.
Right. I think they do kind of bulk interviews at the very end because I mean, if you notice, they're always wearing the same outfit like throughout the season for like their interviews. Like Tanya's been wearing that blue top forever now in her interviews.
Oh yeah. It just really takes me out of it when I'm just like, that's not now. Stop.
So he's visited her 3 times now, and on the 3rd time, he proposes with actually a nice-looking ring.
Yeah, it was decent looking.
I was kind of impressed considering he is living with his mom, and his mom kind of says that she doesn't think Blake is financially capable right now, and so it's like, okay, so his financial situation isn't that great, but you're affording a pretty nice ring.
Right, so I wasn't
unless
sure.
Unless it's just a fakey ring.
It sounded to me like she was kind of like, making the argument of, yeah, you can get a car, but you can get a Honda, not a Ferrari. Like she was like, that girl has expensive taste, and you can't afford her. But I mean, even still, he's living with them, so it's not like he's that well financial off.
I'll be interested to see how she handles, live. I think she's gonna be like a POW and like immediately demand to move out of mom's house. Yeah,
I mean that's a big ask to move in with somebody, but not move in with them. Move in with their parents, like
right.
POW. Anybody, like, yes, POW, and everybody hates POW. She's so demanding, but like, that's a pretty reasonable standard thing. It's like, I want to live with you and not your parents.
Right. So just because of his finances, I'm kind of wondering a little bit if that's more of the reason why Blake was pissed about being cut out of the first few episodes. Because if they're getting paid per episode, does that mean he doesn't get paid for the first 4 episodes that he wasn't on?
Yeah, I wonder. Because I don't know. They should pay by the hour, I think, like not by the episode.
Yeah, but they do pay by episode, I believe.
Because that would suck to have somebody follow you around for like weeks and weeks and weeks, and you're like basically on, right? You're working. And then they'd be like, yeah, we only put you in 2 episodes. Like, what the hell, man?
Yeah. So Jasmine gets there, and Blake went to go pick her up from the airport with Jasmine's sister. Mm-hmm. He seems to be kind of indifferent that the sister's in the U.S. or in the car or at the airport.
Yeah, it's funny because even the producer was like trying to get him to be like, that is weird. He was like, I guess it is. I don't know. He's very indifferent to her. She was indifferent to everything. Like,
right.
He couldn't get her to talk or even like half fake laugh at his bad jokes. Nothing. Just staring out the window.
So he finally gets to see Jasmine. They're kind of waiting around. She doesn't seem to want to be touched by him. She says it's hot. Like, get your arm off of me. They get to the hotel. Blake is starting to like, I don't know, feel like stuff is gonna go down. He's like, so what do you want to do?
The hotel. There's a specific reason he got the hotel.
Right. Because we don't have privacy at my mom and stepdad's place. They're old school.
Not like other people later in the show who just go ahead and bang in the mom's apartment. But okay.
Oh, gosh. Yeah. Or in the room next to your son who can walk out at any moment. Yeah. So, but she's just like, oh, I just want to shower and sleep.
Mm-hmm. ...
Alone.
Yeah. And then him like playing with a toy.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, that was pretty much them. Nothing real interesting. I can kind of understand.
They're laying some groundwork, but if she's not going to talk the whole time, I can see why you're not going to put her in episodes.
Right. Okay, who do you want to talk about next?
Oh, man, it's getting worse from here. Micah, let's go with Micah and Natalie.
Okay. Uncle Bo holding down the fort.
Man, Bojangles is staying.
Yep. He's actually would not be so bad looking if he had teeth.
Yes.
I made that kind of realization. Like, he's not an unfortunate looking guy.
No, I mean, he's definitely, a type.
Yeah, well, exactly. I kind of feel like the local ladies would be into him.
Oh, you know what? I bet even without teeth, he does fine. If he looks for the ladies of a certain age, I'm sure he does just fine.
Yeah, I'm sure. So they show Mike leaving to go to Ukraine. Mm-hmm. And for some reason, they focused in on a Southwest plane.
So, yes. I was thinking that, I was like, was that his plane? Or he probably does not get a direct flight from Seattle to Kyiv. So he's going to have to change planes somewhere. So they probably flew Southwest to like New York or Chicago and then.
Right. Because I was like, Southwest does not go to Ukraine, I'm pretty sure.
No, it does not. Well, for a long time, Southwest was only domestic, and now it goes to like Cancun and like the Caribbean.
Yeah,
but other than that, no.
A couple places in South America, yeah. But definitely not overseas.
Yeah, definitely not transatlantic.
Right. So Natalie has more of an interview, so she kind of describes kind of their relationship, and she says that one of the things that really bonded them at the beginning is that they were both going through a divorce. Mm-hmm. So you kind of get to see her ex-husband, which, by the way, what is it with her and matchy photo shoots? Did you see her picture with her ex-husband? They were both wearing like matching plaid tops.
Were they? I saw them, and they were like in like an observation deck of something, right?
Yes.
But I noticed that.
They were wearing matching
plaid
tops, and I was just like, oh my goodness, because I mean, even when I was on the TLC website, they have their couple picture, and that was like the outfit I was telling you about. They're wearing white shirts and like jean bottoms or denim bottoms. So I think, yeah.
She was matching with one of her girlfriends. Like she had a bright yellow dress, and she had one of her girlfriends had a bright yellow sweater. It's like, okay, everybody in Ukraine wears yellow. Okay.
She likes to match with the ones she loves.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yep. So she says that Mike proposed after 3 months, and their visa is on hold, but it's not denied.
Right. Which, yeah, I mean, there's probably a backlogs of visas out of Ukraine with the war and everything. Like, I could see that being an issue.
So she meets up with her friends, and they have concerns.
Right. Concerns that Mike don't have enough money.
Yep.
That's pretty much that's literally all that friend cared about.
Yeah, there was another concern that Mike was previously fat and Natalie lives a healthy lifestyle.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right, but her ex-husband was loaded and Mike is not loaded, and how can you downgrade?
Right. I thought that was funny that they said that, because then you hear about the mom, and the mom thinks Mike is an upgrade.
Right. She hated the ex. Well, okay, so back up. We're talking about the friends we're talking. She said that Mike's job was a manager of a construction company.
Right. I had that question too. I said, oh gosh, is this another secret?
Uh-huh.
Like, does she not know that he bought a tree farm, and now this is his job?
Right, because they were like, oh, he's a manager, because you used to date guys who were owners of construction companies. It's like, oh.
Oh, God. Yeah, I thought, oh, is this previously, or, like I said, another secret that she just doesn't know about right now?
Right. But then we meet Natalie's mom.
She was so sweet.
Yeah, she was very cute. But she was the other way. She was just like, I want you to be with a nice man that's going to treat you well. I don't care. The money doesn't matter that much.
She had a lot of great things to say about Mike, which I thought was funny, because Mike isn't even her partner, and she was able to identify qualities about him that makes him a good partner. And you know that that's like one of my biggest pet peeves with these couples is like, how can you not identify qualities that make you love this person? But Nelia, Natalie's mom, had no problems.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Now, the one concern I had, it looked like a red flag to me, at least production wanted it to, was Natalie's like preoccupation with having a baby right now.
Oh, yeah. Like, she wants to get to baby making at the moment.
She had the sound and look of somebody who's gonna poke a hole in the condom. Like, I'm going to make this baby whether he wants to or not.
Right. And in the previous episodes, Mike has said, I am not in a financial place to have a child right now. So they're definitely not on the same page.
Yeah, he quit his job as the manager of a construction company.
Right. So the mom is really sweet, but what I kind of thought was not a red flag, maybe like a yellow flag, was I wondered a little bit if Natalie likes Mike that much more because her mom likes him, because she even says that one of the reasons why she ended up getting divorced her ex-husband was because he had problems with her mom. And so because that relationship was challenged, she inevitably, felt like it wasn't worth working on. And so it's almost like, well, how do you remedy that situation but date someone that your mom loves?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know. I get wanting to have somebody that your mom likes, but it's weird that her relationship with her mom is so close that like her mom's opinion clearly influences her opinion. Like,
Right.
And so that's...
But I mean, she does say that, you're the person I love the most. Your opinion matters the most. I mean, she actually says that.
Yes.
So that's what made me kind of wonder a little bit. I mean, I'm not saying Natalie doesn't love Mike, but maybe that's the reason why she's ready to jump into all of this.
Yeah. Well, also, she got divorced from somebody. She got divorced from somebody that her mom hates. So part of that's going to be like, well, your judgment was clearly better than mine the whole time. So
yeah.
But I don't know. So anyway, they get there. He finally gets there, and they have that whole conversation where he's like, "You're my tigress." Oh my god.
Oh god, that was so awkward. I feel like she didn't even know what to do.
No.
She at first started giving the look, like, "Yes, I am," and then she was like, "Where's this going?" I don't really know.
Yeah. It was like one off comment. Okay, that's kind of that's playful and sexy. Wait, you're still going? Oh no, you're still going.
Yeah. He's full of a lot of uncle jokes in general. Like how she was scratching his beard and he was like acting like a dog that was kind of weird.
It was very weird.
Yeah. They are generally cute together.
Yeah, they are. Well, especially like all the pictures that they took. She's very good at that. Right. She's very good at managing those pictures.
Yeah, definitely. There was one thing that made me sigh a little bit with Natalie because, they try to present her as this free-spirited, adventurous person who is just into a lot of different things, just really... And I associate independence with that. Mm-hmm. So when she says that she doesn't understand how people survive being alone, that was just such a weird thing.
Right.
It kind of made me feel like that's not like the independent, adventurous woman you were kind of portrayed to being.
Because she was like, she said all those things, she climbs and she dives and she runs and she does a lot of stuff, which are all, even though they're adventurous, they're all pretty independent, adventurous activities. When you dive, once you're underwater, you're by yourself.
Yeah, you're not talking to anyone.
You're not talking to anybody. You're just, right? And when you run, you don't talk to people really. It's all very independent things. It's not like you're like, on a rugby team or something, right? It's like
right.
But she almost seems like she's like, I don't like it, because she almost sounded like it's time for me to put childish things away. I'm getting older, and those things I need to settle down and
No, never give up those things. This makes her interesting. All right. Who do you want to talk to about next?
Let's work our way up to the ones that have more and less written about. Anna and Marcel.
Okay.
We'll save the last two are going to be a lot of fun.
All right. So I wanted to start off Anna and Marcel with, I looked up, there's an actual thing called melissophilia.
Uh-huh.
That is a bee fetish where the sight of bees, interaction with bees, cause arousal, or you have fantasies involving bees. Now, I don't think she's fantasizing about bees specifically, but those sight of bees definitely made her horny for Marcel.
I think that's the first time she's seen Marcel in America be competent at something and be confident and competent and know what he's doing. And that obviously confidence is sexy. That's always true.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I didn't think about it that way because of her weird, trying to make everything bee related, sexual.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, because you do when you are dealing with bees, they are looking for the queens, and they're part of the thing is are they having sex? Do we have enough bees?
Yeah. So Anna and Marcel work the bees.
They work the bees,
and Marcel's been doing this his whole life, so he definitely has more experience than Anna. And he pretty much says in so many words that Anna sucks at beekeeping.
He does. I mean, it just looks like she doesn't put in the work.
Right.
Like she even said, "Oh, I don't like scraping the wax." And it's like, well, that's the job. You have to trim the grass around the hives and stuff like that.
Right.
She just seems like she's like, "Oh, it's neat that I have bees and I'd like to look at them."
Yeah. So Anna keeps trying to flirt with him, saying weird stuff like, "You light my fire."
Right. When he's
you excite me when you work.
When he's lighting the smoker is when she said, I light my fire.
It is completely lost on him. He has no idea what she's saying. He has no.
Nope.
Which I don't. It's funny to me that, okay, I get you don't understand what she's saying, but how are you not picking up on how she's saying it?
That's true. Yeah.
Like, how do you not
She's
get,
like giving the wink, wink and the nudge, nudge, like with it. Like,
Yeah.
you have to get, yeah. He was focused on them bees. I'm working, man.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah, he definitely was. He had no idea that she was trying to be flirty with him. So then she asks him just straight up, do you think I'm sexy when I'm working with the bees? And then he just gives this weird yes. I don't think he really understands what he's saying yes to.
well, even they translated it on the app too. It just didn't.
Oh, did they?
Like, I think he read it and was like, sexy and bees? I don't understand. But I'll go ahead and say yes. I can understand how
And so
these
then
two
she's
things go
happy.
together. Like, okay.
Yeah, so then she's happy because she's like, oh, he thinks I'm sexy when I'm working with the bees.
Right, because he
So
was
she's
just
happy.
like, yes.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah, he's so weird.
that was it.
I feel bad for him, but he's so.
It's just so weird. Like, even the way, I can't say I've never been in that situation, but he is, where I just don't know the language. But I at least know the word for yes. And I would never just be like, if I'm in Mexico or I'm somewhere Spanish, I wouldn't just be like, sí. I'd at least be like, oh, sí. Like, and try to like engage people like with the 1-2 words that I know. But like,
Right.
and make eye contact with people.
I wonder a tiny bit if he is somewhat on the spectrum, because like I mentioned, I feel like he doesn't pick up on social cues. And the issue is that I feel like I can't really say, because I don't know culturally if the same social cues that I would pick up that are nonverbal are the same from culture to culture. But, it's like even her tone of voice, I don't get how he doesn't get that she's being playful or when she's being serious, things like that. He just seems to be struggling with, like the nonverbal cues.
That's true. Which becomes a huge problem when they go to the wedding shower.
Yes.
Which he doesn't even understand the point of. He's like, I don't understand this party at all. What is it? What are we doing?
Yeah. Yeah. So he was kind of lectured at, before. He needs to stay off his phone and he needs to try to have conversations with them. So they go to the party and you can tell he's trying, but it's still so awkward.
Yes, it really is.
The way it was kind of like a drill, how he was like shaking hands with everyone, like in a line. And it was just like, eye contact, shake, move on. Eye contact, shake, move on.
Yeah, it was like he was trying to. He was a bit like our friend Ben when he was doing the Kenyan bride price negotiation. Like, I have 1,000 things I need to remember. Shake, 1, 2, shake, look, eyes, walk, next. I don't know how to do this.
Right.
And the one guy was like, how are you doing? He was like, good. Okay. Okay. Gee. Like, you would think you would at least teach him, like, oh, say good and then say, and you? Like, and then let the other person talk and nod at them. Like, get the other person talking and you can nod along and be like,
Yeah.
The same way, he's more sociable.
I do feel bad for him because at one point in his interview, he does say that things are weird, but he says they're weird because he can't communicate with them.
Yes.
And so I do feel really bad.
Right. Especially if they get to that point after he gets his tea. A tea? A tea. Tea.
Oh, it's kind of like when he was eating nachos and he was like, pork?
Yeah. Yes, exactly like that. But
yeah.
Which is funny because it was a party and they were all drinking, but he's just getting to the point now where he's like, I don't know, in America any of these drinks could have alcohol in them. I don't know what's going on.
It's like a landmine of alcohol.
Yes. But then they had
he's like, even water could be vodka.
Right. They had that conversation where Anna and her friend just had that conversation like about him, with him just sitting there being completely oblivious. They were talking about him.
So
awkward. Rude and awkward.
Yes, it was completely rude, especially because it wasn't like she was sitting there praising him. Like, this is something that if he understood what they were saying, I'm sure she would feel bad. Embarrassed or bad, one or the other.
Yes. Right. It doesn't seem to me that Anna's making much of an effort to teach him English at all.
No.
Like, she's just like, but you should get English.
She just doesn't know how, I think.
Yeah, but like, what he says wrong.
Right.
Like, you know.
I mean, Duolingo.
Yeah.
Can we start off with Duolingo? Because then at least you get like the basics, like how are you or something like that.
And you can go both ways. Like you're doing the Turkish one and she's doing the English one. And I don't know.
Yeah.
I did Duolingo for a while and it taught me a lot of things to say about apples. I don't know why it started with apples. But yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I get it that it's difficult. I feel like I've taken so many years of Spanish. You would think I would be like totally fluent in it, but I'm not. My Spanish, like my verbal Spanish is really actually pretty bad. And I lived in Cozumel for like 2-ish months. So, I mean, but before I was going to Cozumel, I was like, okay, I understand my Spanish is not as good as it should be. So I was on Duolingo. And then also my other thing that I would do is I have a lot of the Simpsons DVDs.
Uh-huh.
And so you know how they have it dubbed in other languages on the DVDs. And so I would watch the Simpsons in Spanish and have the subtitles on so I could read in Spanish along with it.
I could get that.
So I try to watch an episode every day. And I got a lot of slang from that, so it was somewhat helpful. But I mean, there's things you can kind of do to make things better. Like I said, I'm not fluent, so I'm not saying that my strategies are going to all of a sudden make you fluent, but I felt like I was a little better off.
Yeah, I mean, you could say that. I don't know. And I can talk whatever trash about him. I took 3 years of Latin in high school. I can't speak a damn lick of any language.
Actually, I was going to say, the one thing I did take away from all that Spanish, my reading and writing Spanish is actually pretty decent. Like, I can read things in Spanish pretty well. It's just my verbal. I have a hard time saying things, like, correctly,
Sure.
and then it's just too fast when I hear it. So, yeah, I feel for him. It is frustrating. But Anna also is getting frustrated because she thinks that Marcel doesn't understand what she's saying, but he says he does, and so then she gets annoyed that later on she finds out he really didn't understand.
Right.
And so my thought is just always assume he has no idea what's going on. Lower your expectations.
Right. It's almost like, you know, the teacher trick of like, until they repeat it back to me, assume they don't know. Like, where are we going? Where are we going later? When are we going there?
Right. Yeah. She is, Anna, I don't know why in her mind, thinking about him coming over, it never crossed her mind that Marcel would not fit in. She said it just never occurred to her before.
So they must have, when they chatted online, they had to use some sort of translation, like text.
Right.
Like they had to mostly communicate over text. And like maybe he might be like you, his English, he might be able to read English better than he could speak it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Plus, when you text somebody, they can take a long time to figure out what it was before they respond. They don't have to, it's not as quick.
Yeah. So Jamie makes a reappearance. Jamie was our student of the week, I think, on the first episode. For kind of getting Anna to think about all these questions that she obviously did not think about before. And so Jamie, first thing she asks Marcel is, are you okay with Anna drinking wine? It's like, oh my gosh, Jamie,
good.
Just let it go.
But then the friend was great. Somebody else whose first question was, are you ready for the wedding? That's a good first question. That's what you're supposed to ask. And then he had no idea what she was talking about. So eventually they got him to say he was happy.
Right. So that's all I had on them. What about you?
That's all I had for them. That's going to be, I don't know. I just feel like it's going to be more, I don't know. That one can't get much more interesting if you can't speak any English. Like,
no. I mean, they didn't talk about any of their kid drama in this one, but they definitely have a lot of issues stemming from the language, but it's not just isolated to that.
All right. So we have 2 left. They're both infuriating.
Both of them. Yes, they're both like dumpster fires. I think we're at that point. They are officially lit on fire.
Uh-huh. I mean, they're trying to light them on fire at least. I think it's so bad that the dumpster fire won't even light. It's just like a dumpster smolder.
Okay, let's go Tanya and Sinjin then.
Okay.
Is it bad that I just want to like Sinjin just to like tell him, you know, you can come live with me?
Yeah, he can crash on my couch or something. I don't care.
I know. like I have a spare room. You can like live in there. It's
not a shed.
It's not a shit shed.
Oh my God.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Okay.
She is such a hypocrite in this whole episode.
Yes, so much.
That is the reason why she infuriates me. I mean, I feel like if she wasn't so hard on him for not the exact same thing, but similar issues, I wouldn't have so much of a problem.
Right,
with
but
this.
she's very much like, but you jump from job to job and you lack follow through. Like you haven't finished a thing yet.
Yes. Yes. So she lies and tells him that the she shed is done. So, and she doesn't even tell him before he sees it. So he's walking in there.
He asked her when they got out of the car. It's done, right? And she's like, yeah. As like 3 seconds before they were going to go see it.
Liar. Why do you have to lie?
What's the point? What's the gain out of this lie?
What's the point? You're good. Yes, exactly. You're going to find out literally in a minute when you walk around the backyard.
The backyard.
So, and I mean,
he should have, the alarm bell should have been going off as soon as he saw the backyard.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because the backyard was just as bad as the shit shed.
Yes, so much garbage. Just garbage.
Yeah.
I don't understand.
I know. Oh, it's so bad. So the shit shed doesn't have a kitchen or a bathroom. It's basically a pit of junk piled up on one another.
Yes, with the worst. I thought that it didn't have any drywall, right? I thought
there were parts of it that definitely were exposed.
Yeah, but I was like, so much I could. So what I thought is that it's these bright pink walls, right?
Right.
I actually had assumed. And turns out I was generous on this. I had assumed that those bright pink walls, which kind of fit in between like the wall studs and stuff, I was like, oh, that must just be foam insulation that they put up and they haven't drywalled it yet. Until, and I'll skip ahead later, they took down these cabinets and they were white behind the cabinets. So that was drywall that they had just put like in between the studs.
Oh my God.
So I looked at it and she was like, we're going to fix it. She wanted to stay up all night. And like
I know,
crash
that
late
was
at night.
so ridiculous.
And
like she was like, oh, we could just, do this and like pull an all-nighter, it'll be done. It's like, no, there is much more work.
That's what I said that. It's like, that is like 3 or 4 days worth of work to get that thing in a condition that I would live in it.
Right.
And she was like, we'll just do it all night. And I don't understand why he's upset that we could do it. Aren't you supposed to just tackle your problems? And it's like,
yeah,
again,
and that's the thing.
You told him it was done.
Right. She's such a hypocrite. If it was that easy, why did you not have it done before he got there?
Right. If it was just 3 hours worth of work.
Right. And her excuse was, well, I was doing stuff. I was doing the paperwork. I had to pay for the paperwork. It's like, I don't think this is days worth of paperwork.
And even if it was, the paperwork was filed like at least a week before he got there.
Right. Yeah. And she just says that he should just suck it up.
Yeah, and she doesn't understand why. And I don't even know if she knew, like, and I guess she had a very different definition of what a ready shit shed looked like than I had a definition, because I was like, that thing needs drywalled. It needs completely drywalled,
her version,
completely painted. And I was like, does he even have the skills to do that? Because drywalling is not easy.
Right? Oh, no. Her version of a ready shit shed is that the bed is clear. Mm-hmm. That's it. She was like, oh, well, we could have slept in here and we just had to clear the bed off.
I doubt she wouldn't even.
And then we could have slept in there.
She wouldn't even made the bed. She just slept on the bare mattress.
Oh my gosh. Oh, she's just the worst. So, yeah, she says that she had a plan, but she admits that she's a procrastinator, which
she's not a procrastinator.
She somehow thinks, she just doesn't want to do it. Yeah. She's lazy.
Well, because the definition of procrastination is waiting to the last minute to get something done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right? If you don't get it done, you're not even up to the level of procrastinator.
Sure. But she seems to think that having a plan somehow makes her better. I think it arguably makes you worse.
Yes.
Like, you're just lazy.
Yes. You knew exactly what to do and then didn't do it. That's worse than just being like, I wasn't sure.
Yeah, I was just clueless. I didn't really have a plan. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
It's like, she's definitely the kind of person who like goes to the grocery store and gets all the stuff to make a dinner and then just lets it all rot and throws it away.
Yeah, right. She tells him that everything needs to be organized right now. And it's going back. Why does she see a sense of urgency now that he's here? Like, and then she does. She's putting it on him.
Oh yeah, and she's blaming him. Well, I don't know why you don't want to do this work right now. This is showing how lazy and unmotivated you are. It's like, which,
okay,
if she would have told him, that would have been maybe a different story. But she didn't tell him.
Right.
He didn't know.
So they start their renovation project, which they really only showed the part where they're trying to take down the cabinet.
Yes, and to be honest, that part was more angering to me than the part where the shed was undone.
Sure. Yeah, I agree.
That was the worst.
Yeah.
Like, first of all, because she's...
Oh, her communication style is what she said. She said, "Oh, we communicate well. I tell Sinjin what to do, and Sinjin does it."
But she doesn't even do that.
No,
because she said take down the cabinet, and then kept talking to him. He was going to do it. And she was like, "Wait, what's your plan?" He was like, "I'm gonna unscrew the screws in the cabinet, take it down." She's like, "But what about the plan? The walls? You're gonna damage." It's like, oh my god, such a micromanager.
Just let him do it, right? My thought is, if you're okay, exactly. If you're gonna micromanage, like, you do it.
Yes. Oh, I would.
I will help you. Tell me what you want me to do, but you do it.
He has way more patience than me. I'd have thrown that drill at her. Like, if you're gonna tell me which screws to do, be careful about putting this. I would have been like, you do it.
Right. So I think I was reading online something. They did like a survey of people who were doing home improvements, and they said that 12% of couples seriously considered divorce after a major home renovation, which I can see.
It is. And it depends
stressful.
On. Yes, very much. Because I've been doing that. The only person I really work, not the only person, like I work really well with my dad, right? When we're doing like improvement stuff, we change the brakes on his truck and stuff like that. And we work really well together. But it took like a solid 20 years of him yelling at me. And messing it up and not figuring out how each other thinks before we like got to that point. It's not something you can just go and do with somebody you barely know. It usually doesn't work out well, especially if it's somebody that you think you're the boss of.
Yeah, I didn't like that. She was treating Sinjin like he was her slave. So he says that he got stressed out by Tanya's controlling ways, and then he kind of seems to, consider that, like, okay, if this is too stressful in the 90 days, I'm out.
Yeah. I mean, that's legitimate. I don't know. If like seriously, day one of running into any kind of stress is like that.
Right.
You're supposed to help your stress, not make it worse.
Exactly. It just seems like she has signs of contempt for him, to be honest. Like, they're in the interview and they're kind of talking, like rehashing and the situation, and she is just rolling her eyes like every time he says something, and just like I don't know, she just came off as really nasty. And so then he is pretty calm, and I definitely think he's very patient with her. And so then she says, "Don't talk to me softly like that." It's like, so you want him to yell at you?
Oh yeah. Yeah, definitely. People who are yellers and who are things, like the thing, if you want to just infuriate them, don't yell at them back. Like, if you lower your voice, they're just like, "Why aren't you're supposed to care. Why aren't you yelling?" Like, yeah, that could be really infuriating.
She is not my favorite.
No. All right.
No. All right. Last up, we have Robert and Annie.
Speaking of not my favorite.
Yeah. I can't tell. Neither. I'm not into either.
Oh, no. Yeah. This is very much like, do we want the would you rather have mice or cockroaches? I'd be like, could I just not have either? That'd be cool.
Yeah. Right. So they go to meet Ben and Stephanie, and Stephanie is Bryson's mom's mom. So Bryson's grandma.
Yes.
So Robert starts off in his interview saying that he's previously had issues with Stephanie, but then he wants Stephanie to be in Bryson's life. So it sounds like they see them every other week.
Yeah, that's I think they said every other weekend.
Right. First of all, they look so young.
That's the first thing I wrote down.
Stephanie
Are
and
they
Ben.
younger
Yeah.
than Robert? Because
Yes, they look younger than Robert.
Mm-hmm. Well, one of them,
Which
I was able to find their age for reasons that become clear.
Yeah.
And she's like 5 years older than Robert.
Okay, that actually makes sense because I was going to say Robert and Annie even have like a 10-year age gap. So it is possible that, Robert must have been around 35 when he had Bryson. So, I mean,
I
it's
don't think so. I think Bryson's younger than that. No.
I thought he was like 5.
Yeah, he's probably about
not?
5. No, he's probably 5. That's probably right. Yeah.
So, I mean, he could have been dating someone who was like early 20s.
Sure.
So, I mean, it's possible. Yeah, but they look very, very young.
But and apparently, and this came out as soon as they met. So they met at a playground. Well, and Annie pouted the whole way to the trip. On the trip to the playground. The drive to the
she's
playground
already
to meet them.
negative.
She's already pouting. I don't know. I have to meet these people. This is dumb. Why are they even part of his life?
Yeah.
Like,
right.
Completely unreasonable. Like snippiness.
Yeah.
But,
so Stephanie wants to have a private conversation, so they go off on their own.
Right, but this is after apparently, what was it? Stephanie and Ben.
Ben, yeah.
Neither of them even knew Annie existed until he called and said, "Do you want to meet Annie?"
Oh, right.
Like,
sure.
What the hell?
Yeah.
Okay, so then.
Well, Robert says it's none of their business, so.
Yeah, that's so. I want you to be a part of his life, and I want you to be involved, but yeah.
Yeah,
I just brought a strange woman to live with them. Like.
Right, that part. Because I was thinking, Stephanie. Well, we'll talk about if you really think or not. I don't know if she'd be so thrilled that Bryson was in the other room when they're having sex in the living room. But then, I don't know. Stephanie might have some questionable moral judgment in general.
Right, because Stephanie pulls Annie aside for a private conversation. And the first thing we learn about Stephanie is that she's a porn star.
Yep.
Which, to be fair for her, is something that she put out there right away and just said it which is fine. There's nothing wrong with it. I'm not going to denigrate sex work. If that's what people do, that's fine. But Annie did not take it that way.
No. And I just felt like Annie, as soon as she found out, it was like, she's out. She did not care about even like kind of being nice, but it was very obvious that Annie definitely had, the sourpuss face from the beginning.
Yes.
But at least she was like kind of participating in the conversation. As soon as she finds out that Stephanie does porn, you could tell there was a change in her demeanor, and she was like, I don't have to talk to you. I have no respect for you. You have questionable morals. I don't care what you have to say.
She was very much like, I am done. You are you are beneath contempt. I should not have to talk to you. Yes.
Yeah. So Annie gets bold and hostile and rude, and then that's when Stephanie starts asking probing questions, which I don't know. I understand. Like, I feel like those are not conversations she should be having with Annie.
Right.
Like, she doesn't know Annie.
No,
like,
they might be conversations she could have with Robert.
Right, exactly. And so I kind of just feel like, I don't know. She did put Annie kind of in a weird place where Annie just did not feel comfortable. I'm sure Annie didn't want to feel judged by someone that she had already judged.
Yes.
And so she's not about this at all. So she's just outwardly, rude and is like, I need to go. I need to go talk to Robert.
Yeah. Okay, bye. She said okay bye to her face and walked away. So
basically. Yep. So then they start walking back to the car. What the heck happened to Bryson's shirt?
Where was Bryson's shirt? I noticed the same thing.
I was looking everywhere like maybe Robert has it in his pocket or something. Nope, his shirt is just gone.
And usually
for reasons unknown.
Usually it's like, okay, put your shirt back on and we'll go. Like, I don't know. We missed something. Just no
just
shirt,
gone.
just all the way gone.
Yeah.
I don't want Bryson to grow up to be a Florida man, but that's the way things are going.
Oh no. Oh, poor Bryson.
I know.
He has some challenges ahead.
He's got a lot of therapy ahead of himself.
Yeah, he definitely
Let's hope
does.
that's where he ends up.
Yeah. So I don't think it was very fair of Annie to talk shit on Gigi. That's what Bryson calls grandma. In front of Bryson.
No.
that she should have waited until Bryson wasn't around to say those things.
Yeah, but
I don't think that
I
was
couldn't
fair.
imagine her being that, like, I don't know, not discreet, but
Oh yeah, that's
but
true.
thinking that all the way through.
Right. So I do think it's funny because, up until now, Annie and Robert have just been fighting, right?
Yes.
This entire time. As soon as they have a shared enemy of Stephanie, all of a sudden they're cool.
Are they though? For like a second.
Well, kind of ish. Yeah, for like a hot second.
Well, because even
until there's something else.
Something
to
I
fight
noticed
about.
is Annie had gotten a cold or something, right?
Yes.
And she mentioned, "Oh, I have a cold," and his first thought was, "Oh, I hope you feel better. Oh, what can we do?" It was, "I ain't trying to get sick."
Yeah, get away from me. I'm not trying to be sick. Yeah, I know. I feel like that with my students, though. I'm like, no, get away from me. I don't want to get sick.
I'm not marrying my students, so yeah, they can stay
No,
away.
Don't take me out. Yeah.
I'm trying to bank my sick days. Come on, man.
No, I take a lot of mental health days.
I don't think I have so many sick days banked out. I'm gonna get
I'm okay with using my sick days. Yeah.
I just don't
keep
do
that
it.
mental health.
I'm just gonna take a whole year off on my last year of teaching and be like, yeah, I'm all banked. Just that's one more year.
Right. Oh, I think I would have to be teaching like another 30 years to bank, and that would be like never getting sick again for the next 30 years. Yeah. So they're okay for all of 2 seconds. They go out to eat. And this is where it comes up that Robert has 5 kids with 4 women.
5 kids.
That's a lot.
5.
He's 40, so, when you think about it like that, and let's say his first kid was at 20, that's like 1 kid every 4 years. It doesn't sound so terrible when you say it like that. But I think what was more concerning to Annie is that he had been lying to her about it. And originally he had said that it was only 3 with 2 women. And she only comes to find out, I think, when they're applying for the visa.
Yeah. It was very late in the process. And that's one of those things. Again, that's a red flag for her. Like, that seems like something you should have noped out of. Especially because his argument is that I'm open about my past. And like, well, no, you lied about your past.
Are you? Right. Now you're open about it because it's all over the internet.
So
yeah.
Maybe,
and it happens that his past is all over the internet because that's what they fight about next.
Yeah. I mean, maybe she should. I got to go back because he said a phrase that I've never heard in my life when they were talking about Stephanie.
What is it?
He said maybe she should put a pipe in her ass and shut up.
Oh my gosh.
I've never heard those words don't go together.
No, they don't. He's like just trying to say like a bunch of random offensive things because I'm sure I'm not the only one who thought this, but it's like, is that a porn she was in? I don't
Is that
really know.
Is there a reference to the porn?
I don't know.
'Cause
he says some weird things. He likes to talk about things falling out of asses.
Yeah, he has a
money, pipes.
Seems to have obsession, not obsession. Like tends to talk about asses a lot.
Fascination?
Yes.
An assination?
Yes. Assination, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh.
All right. So they get to start fighting, and Annie is very adamant about Robert deleting everything off of his Instagram or his Facebook. I can't remember which one. Just social media.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I do know. Like, where do you sit on that?
Okay. So, I mean, okay. First of all, I feel like Robert was treating it like if he deleted these photos from Facebook that they would be right, that they would be deleted forever and that we would never be able to see them ever. It's like, don't you have local copies of these photos? I don't know. So that was one thing that I was like, it doesn't really work like that. I mean, if you really wanted to show Bryson, yeah, just copy all the photos to some like local disk or something and then give it to him later. For me personally, I always tell people that if you ever see a guy on my Instagram, 100% he is so friend zoned, it's not even funny. Because I personally keep my personal life off of social media. So, but in the past I haven't. But as soon as we've broken up, I've definitely scrubbed. And so I just don't want to do that all the time, which is the reason why I just don't even bother posting love interests at all.
Yeah.
on anything.
Yeah, so mine was like, because it was like, they had pictures of like women who were pregnant. Like, so they were like,
Yeah.
But I don't know. It just seems to me, I do not think about it never dawns on me to look backwards on my Facebook profile. Like, it doesn't,
Sure.
I never even think about it. And I do not post very much at all anyway. But yeah, it just seems to me, it's a real red flag if you're trying to date somebody and one of the things they do is go backwards and look at your entire history of Facebook or Instagram or anything.
Guilty of that. I'm sorry. I am. I'm totally guilty of that. Yeah. Okay, so although I'm guilty of that, maybe that's the reason why I'm pretty good about not having anything on there, because I don't want anyone to see anything. I think the bigger issue here is that Annie doesn't like it, and so I kind of feel like it's not, I don't think, completely unreasonable what she's asking. I do think how she's asking it is gonna put anyone's defenses up, like, at least at first, because
true.
she's not being the nicest about it. But I it's something that he should be considering how she feels about it. I mean, the reason why she's saying it is because it upsets her. It makes her think that he still has residual thoughts or feelings about his exes, and that's the reason why he doesn't want to take them down. And I think he needs to have a little bit of respect or at least empathy of why she feels that way. And I think by him saying that he's not going to take it down, it's going to make her to some point feel insecure about their relationship, either whether she really truly is jealous and she thinks that he has residual feelings for his exes, or the fact that he just doesn't respect how she feels about things. And so it can come off like, you don't care that I feel negatively about this. You're just going to do what you want to do.
Yeah, interesting. I was way more on Robert's side. still on that. Just because I'm like, what? Because, yeah. And part of it is the way she asked. She did not say, oh, you know what? This is something that greatly upsets me. It was, you still have feelings for these women. You love all your girls. You don't love me. You love your girls. And he's like, what the hell are you talking about?
Take them down.
Yeah. And that's like that. So that doesn't help. And it wasn't, she didn't frame it as a, constructive thing to do for the relationship. She framed it as like an accusatory, you're still in love with other women, which if it's a picture from 12 years ago, like, come on.
Right.
Like, what are you talking about? Like, I don't even remember putting, and I get if you were like, doing like time hop and like posting, oh, remember when this happened?
Yeah.
And, okay. That's legit. But, because I feel the same way. She wasn't listening to what he was saying either. They just weren't listening to each other.
Right. Yeah. I mean.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was with him on his side until he started yelling at her about her Instagram.
Yeah. Okay. So that was like, okay. I feel like they both have opposite issues here. Like, he posts too much and she posts too little. So Robert is upset that Annie doesn't have any pictures of him on her Instagram. My comment was, I'd be embarrassed of Robert too, so I would not have him on my Instagram. But Robert thinks the reason is much more malicious than that. It's because Annie's trying to keep some other guys around, and so she doesn't want to make right. She doesn't want to seem like she's in any kind of relationship with anybody else.
Which, I mean, I could see that it depends on how it goes. Like, if she's constantly, taking Instagram photos when you're like right there, and she's like taking selfies and putting them up, and you're like, we were at that club together. Why did you just put a picture of you up?
She's like telling him, hey, can you step over there, please?
You're in my shot.
Take a picture.
That's one thing. But it's another thing if it's like you and you're like, no, I don't put any relationship photos up there. I'm going to put me, doing this and doing that or whatever. Again, I don't post very much, so I don't really know what all that many people put up. So
I don't know. Some people really want everybody to know how happy they are in a relationship. And so I don't know.
Which seems like a cry to
be accused of that.
It really seems like a cry that you're not that happy in the relationship.
I think they've done studies and things like that, and definitely that's part of it. I think for me, it got to a point where I didn't date people for very long, so it's like pointless even talking about the people I date, because it's like, this person probably isn't gonna be around in a month or two anyway, so we're not going to waste our time even knowing their name. It's fine.
All right. That closes them out. We'll leave it there.
Yeah. Oh, one last thing, not having specifically anything to do with it, but kind of reminding me of that. Kind of going back to what I had said about Sinjin and Tanya, and this definitely applies to Robert and Annie too. There was someone, John Gottman, he did some research that shows that contempt is the prime sign of a troubled relationship. And one way that he measured contempt in his research was eye rolls and negative tones. And I was like, oh, wow. God, Robert and Annie are not going to make it.
And neither is Tanya.
I think all
she
they are eye
tremendously.
rolls and negative tones. Yeah. Odds are not in their favor. All right. Do you want to do student of the week first?
Sure. Let's do student of the week. My student of the week was Mike.
Okay.
It's because Mike, he just seemed every time we saw him, he was positive. He got along with somebody's parents.
Yeah.
All right. And we didn't see much of him. But
right.
And I liked when he left Bo in charge. That was a lot of fun. So
Yeah.
Leave it to Bo. So I liked Mike every time I saw him.
Okay. My student of the week was Sarah, for being so welcoming and gracious with Juliana, recognizing her good qualities and not viewing her as a threat or some kind of competition. She was acting like the bigger person. And I kind of feel like we kind of had mentioned this when we talked about them. Like, I think it's sometimes difficult to control like raw emotions. So I'm not going to say that she isn't going to feel jealous or insecure or whatever at some point. But I think that kind of saying these things out loud, saying that, this isn't a competition. I think that's one way to kind of try get your mind right, at least, if you don't have control over your emotions. So Good for Sarah.
Good for Sarah.
Yeah.
All right. Your class dunce.
Oh, I have moved on to Anna. So, seriously, how did she not predict it would go down this way? Also, for being shocked that Marcel isn't fitting into her life when he can't speak the language.
Yeah.
And then also, we talked about this. Like, why is she talking about him like he's not there? And then generally treating him like a child. And unless they're with the bees, then all of a sudden he's a random sex object.
I can see it. My dunce is Tanya, just because I couldn't.
I feel like it's gonna be Tanya and Robert. For
I
the
know.
Rest of the season,
I feel like we might have to just put a moratorium on them. But I could not get over, as a person who's pretty handy and pretty capable. Right. The idea of it, somebody would hand me a drill and then like immediately get upset like that I started unscrewing something with the drill. Like, what are you doing? Like, I'm doing the thing you just asked me to do. I was like, oh man, I could not get over that. And the lies, so we talked a lot about it. And it just, she took the cake for me.
Being a hypocrite.
I couldn't avoid it.
Right. Okay. Life lesson?
Oh yes. My life lesson is, don't half-ass things. So that's specifically, I had 3 people in mind when I did that. One was Tanya, because that whole she shed was half-assed. Like from the wiring to the lighting to the door to the cleaning, every aspect of it was half-assed.
Right.
To Anna, who kind of half-assed, acclimating Marcel to America.
Yeah.
And Robert, who just half-asses everything. Like, especially with the way he half-assed
and likes
the
to talk about his ass.
Yeah, an ass. So half and an ass.
His assassination.
Like that especially came up when he like didn't even like talk to the grandparents about what was going on. Like,
right.
So half-assing the entire thing that you're doing. So don't half-ass things. If you're gonna do something, give it your whole ass.
Give it your whole ass. All right. Okay, so my life lesson kind of goes back to my last lesson about contempt. If you have contempt for your partner, which is defined as feeling that a person or a thing is beneath consideration, worthless, or deserving scorn, then you should really dig deep why you feel that way. And if it can't be resolved, let it go instead of living unhappily ever after in your shit shed. Looking at you, Tanya and Sinjin.
All right. That's like family therapy there.
Yeah. I kind of feel like all of them could afford some benefits from that.
I know, right? Okay, so that wraps it up for this week.
Okay, so we will be covering our classic episode, season 1, episodes 5 and 6, this Thursday. So if you'd like to follow along, you can watch old episodes on TLC Go and Hulu.
That's right. Okay.
Okay.
See everybody next week.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.